Welcome to the Early Stage Investor, where we only cover assets that are in the early stages of a mega trend and could potentially provide life-changing returns for early stage investors that take advantage of being early to the mega trend. One of those is the nuclear renaissance. So why are Sprott Junior uranium miners up in one day? I'm sure there was a whole lot of panic when the Sprott Junior uranium mining ETF hit $18. Well, now it's $21, right? Markets are totally irrational and they try to shake you out. And that's why we stay on top of the long-term fundamentals, because short-term price action is just noise. It's totally meaningless. Why are they starting to outperform in the last day or so? Well, the Dow rises 200 points as stocks rally after Powell signals Fed rate cuts ahead. What have we been talking about for years at this point? We need rate cuts for these miners to do well, right? Because they need access to capital, to low-cost capital in order to get uranium out of the ground. Now, obviously, the uranium in the ground just increases in value regardless of what happens to rate cuts, but these miners tend to profit significantly when rates go down, right? So now we're getting a rate cut in September. I am not convinced that we're out of the woods, because the way it works is the Fed is always too late. They cut a little bit. It's nowhere near enough. There was a massive jobs revision downward. We gained 800,000 less jobs than we thought we did. So the market's super soft. That's why we're getting one rate cut. Again, one rate cut won't be enough. What we need is that emergency rate cut, right? There's no orderly process to this. There's always an emergency, and that causes rates to crash to zero, and early stage assets, growth assets, tend to outperform. So that's really the main reason uranium miners are starting to outperform. Many will point to this: Canadian uranium stocks soar after world's top producer, Kazatomprom, slashes 2025 production target. Canadian uranium stocks surge as global supply concerns intensify following Kazatomprom's significant production cut. Obviously, this is truly massive for the unfolding supply-demand crunch in uranium, but the news has been good for 3 years in this space. It hasn't really impacted price action, right? The macro environment is the elephant in the room. That's why we stay on top of what the Federal Reserve is going to do with rate cuts, right? Because that is really more significant, and it allows news like this to actually have an impact, right? But that is truly massive for the supply demand crunch, because Kazatomprom is the largest producer of uranium in the world, and we're already in a supply crunch. The decision to cut production for 2025 by about 17% stems from several key issues. Firstly, there is significant uncertainty surrounding the supply of sulfuric acid, a critical component in uranium mining. This, coupled with construction delays at newly developed deposits, has forced Kazatomprom to lower its targets. This isn't the first time the company has faced such challenges. Similar issues were flagged early in January, indicating potential disruptions to its 2024 production as well. So what this means is that uranium is far scarcer than anyone realized. The above ground uranium is far scarcer than anyone realized, because it's costly and it's hard to get it out of the ground, right? So investors rush into uranium miners on Kazakh production outlook. Segra Capital sees entire production curve guided down. That is not what you want to see when you're a utility. You're trying to buy uranium and they're saying there's like nothing left available. Uranium market is still undersupplied, BMO's Pierce says. So that speaks to the supply of uranium, obviously extremely scarce. What about the demand for this scarce resource? This is from the Office of Nuclear Energy. The Department of Energy just announced 13 super rapid turnaround experiment projects to advance nuclear fuel and materials through our nuclear science user facilities program, right? Again, the United States is pushing billions of dollars into nuclear energy, all while the supply is scarce. China makes $31 billion nuclear push with record approvals. Beijing gives go-ahead to 11 reactors across 5 regions. The country approved 10 units in each of the last 2 years. China also pumping billions of dollars into nuclear. On the heels of China approving the construction of a record 11 new nuclear reactors in one go, Russia announced that it will also build 11 new reactors as part of its draft 2042 energy expansion plan. They're accelerating the build out of nuclear infrastructure and therefore accelerating the demand. Again, does not get bigger. Then when we look further out, this is revolutionary technology, right? This comes from the Office of Nuclear Energy. Surprising ways to use nuclear energy. Nuclear desalination. 1/5 of the world's population experiences water scarcity, and the demand for fresh water continues to grow. Desalination plants around the world rely on energy to remove salt and produce fresh water. What happens when energy becomes infinitely scalable, right? That's only possible with something as dense as nuclear energy. What happens when it becomes infinitely scalable? There's no more water scarcity. There's no more energy scarcity. That is what nuclear provides. That's why we are in the early stages of a mega trend for this energy source. Rwanda and nano nuclear lead Africa's nuclear energy future. Have to stay on top of the early stage small modular reactor companies like Nano Nuclear, making a partnership with Rwanda. And then the Tennessee Valley Authority is spending $350 million to develop small nuclear reactors. Another multi-billion-dollar company investing in this space.